Our back-to-school coverage continues now. Thank you for joining us. I'm Mike Montecalvo. We have wide range of topics that we're doing on our 2025 back-to-school coverage. We are tackling public schools, sports, vaccines in the schools, but we thought we'd go on a different track, so to speak. There are almost 10,000 kids in the state of Rhode Island that are in a private school. They're in a Catholic school in the state of Rhode Island. So we thought it might be a good idea to kind of tackle that issue, see how the Catholic schools are going. As you know, we've been going up and down in enrollment. They are at a 3% or about a 3% increase just in the last year. Bill Klements, William Klements, is the superintendent of schools for the Diocese of Providence. Bill, thanks for taking the time.
No problem, Mike. Thank you for having me.
So Bill's been here since 2023. You were the assistant.
Correct.
You got the big gig, what, in May?
Yep.
What's that been like?
It was a nice 5-minute honeymoon period where we were able to move into the position. But joking aside, it's been wonderful. I've been in the diocese long enough to see so many things that are working, so many great people, so many great initiatives, and still an opportunity to learn and grow and start the deliberate and intentional process of seeing how we can continue to improve and make the experience better for our students, staff, and families.
In a few minutes, we're going to talk to a principal of one of the schools, and in the third segment, we're going to talk about there's a high school that's helping kids with special needs. So we'll get to those in just a second. You're a former principal. You're a teacher. How does the superintendent fall in love with Shakespeare?
Superintendent falls in love with Shakespeare. It was a long line, and maybe I'll get myself in trouble with this, but you need to be creative with language in everything that you do. And hundreds of years ago, he was pioneering that, and it was something that you can instill in your students, and it was a way to learn to insult my siblings at the dinner table and not get in trouble.
That was the big part of it?
Yeah.
You know, Catholic education, Bill, has been around since the 1600s. I think it was the Franciscan friars that actually opened up their first school. It really hit a peak back in the 1960s. It seemed like, every kid in the neighborhood was going to a Catholic school. Peaks and valleys. We seem to be going back up. Why do you think so much of it's gone up and down over the last 20, 30 years?
In terms of the ups and downs, there are always going to be societal changes in all aspects of society, within the church, and there are people far smarter than I that can speak to the historical trends. But people keep coming back to the church, and they keep coming back to our schools because of the mission, because of all of the things that we are able to do, and frankly, because of the faith, and we're able to instill the love of Christ on top of everything else that we're doing.
I think obviously financial pressures, obviously, diversifying revenue streams, that's all in there.
Yeah.
I'm a product of Catholic school and public school. My kids went to Catholic school. It's a sacrifice that you have to make financially to send them there. How do we present that to families that are struggling? Because some are putting their pennies together.
Absolutely. My own children are enrolled in Catholic school in Massachusetts. I understand. And one of the tags that we'll use, there is a sacrifice, but I'd also tell parents it's an investment. You are investing in your child. You're investing in their education. You're investing in their soul. You're investing in their entire educational experience. And oftentimes you're going to get a richer, stronger, more meaningful community than you may find anywhere else as well.
Demographics really play a part of it. When you see South County, Rhode Island, for example, let's take Monsignor Clark School just for an example. They saw a boom in COVID because I think a lot of the New York families who came to live here, sent their kids there. But people are also moving out that way. They're moving out to the Smithfield area. Monsignor Clark has seen a growth. Do you see that happening in other places?
I do. Demographics always play a part. That's something that public schools don't have to worry about, that we do, or we're always concerned about the trends. But we remain focused on the product that is there, and we are seeing a slow and steady increase that is proportionately greater than the demographic trends that you will see in our families, largely speaking, across the board.
Rhode Island is one of, I believe, 21 states, correct me if I'm wrong, that has a scholarship tax credit program.
Yes.
How did that come about?
So that is an opportunity for businesses to contribute, and then the way that works is that is handled at the diocesan level, and there are disbursements that are given to families based on need, and at the diocesan level. And frankly, it's a tremendous resource. It's one that we're very proud to be able to offer, to help, and to incorporate. And frankly, no matter how much there is, we're always looking for more, and not from a greedy perspective, but from a perspective, this is money that goes right to families. This is money that's going to parents, single family parents, or single parent families, I should say, and really just doing everything that we can to make a Catholic education, which is not free, accessible to as many families as possible.
And I think it's important to state that I know they get subsidy from the parish if it's a parish school, but they are largely responsible to raise money for their school, correct?
Yes, yes.
That's not always easy.
No, it's not easy, and it's one of the things that, frankly, I do think keeps people up at night. I know it keeps parents up at night. I know it keeps principals up at night, and everyone's worrying about the same thing, which is doing the absolute best that we can and making a dollar stretch as far as possible, and that has never felt more urgent, frankly, than it does now in 2025.
Chesterton Academy, they're in Warwick. I believe they've only been around for, 2-3 years?
I think they're going into their third year.
Third year. They bought the old St. Francis School that closed on Jefferson Boulevard several years ago. That is something you haven't seen. That's the first new school, I think, in the diocese since Immaculate in Cranston. But they have a different kind of philosophy there.
Yes, it's more of what you would term a classical-based education. It is still authentically Catholic in everything that they are doing, but it's more focusing on the classics, focusing on a different style of learning, smaller courses. They're growing, but they are still around 60 or so students. I want to say they've added about 20 each year, seminar courses, and it's a really interesting model. It does not fit with every student in Catholic school, but for those that it does, it's really something special to see.
What about some shared services? I know, I think St. Paul's and St. Peter's are sharing a language arts teacher or whatever. Are you going to see more of that coming down the road?
I think so, and I would really focus that on the creativity of our school leaders. Our schools are, despite having a lot of them in Rhode Island, probably more than you might see in other dioceses. It's a credit to our principals and to our pastors, the collaborative nature that is there, whether it be splitting a position, whether it be trending in terms of funding, whether it be training staff. They're incredibly skilled at figuring out how to build off of one another, help one another, and I'm proud of the work that happens between and amongst our schools as well.
I had a pastor telling me that he thought 2/3 of the kids that were going to his school didn't go to church. Some of them were in Catholic, but their families wanted them to get a private education, so to speak. That you're seeing that in various places. How do we get them to go back? How do we teach that in the school?
Sure. So that is lived in every one of our schools. We are a Catholic institution, and the faith is at the center of everything that we do. We instill in all of our students a love of Christ, a love of Jesus, but bluntly speaking, not every student is Catholic. Not every family is Catholic. Not every family is practicing. And yet every one of our schools is welcoming so that we can bring in families that either are not practicing or are not Catholic and still create a community where they and their children feel safe and welcome, and in the process of doing so, brings them closer to Christ. Every school is having students making their first communion, not on a typical track, coming into the church. We'd love to see more of it, but it's a beautiful and special thing to witness.
All right, we're going to take a break. Bill's going to stay here. When we come back, one of the schools that's really doing well in the Diocese of Providence is St. Joseph's in West Warwick. The principal will be on and talk a little bit about how they're doing in the building, and we'll do that when we come back. And our back-to-school coverage continues now. I'm Mike Montecalvo. We're talking education, obviously, and our back-to-school coverage. Bill Klements, who's the superintendent of schools in the Diocese of Providence, is here. In our second segment, we're bringing in Julie Capirchio. She is the principal at St. Joseph's School in West Warwick, one of the schools that we were talking about earlier, Bill, that has seen an increase not only in enrollment, but just an increase in activities and in excitement.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, Julie, did I get your last name right?
You did.
Okay. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You've been in Catholic schools for more than 20 years.
Yes.
So the average person would say, why would you stay so long?
I love it. Like, you do God's work every day. And even if you don't think that you are, you are. And Having the children from pre-K all the way to grade 8 and watching them grow that whole time is awesome. That you don't get that in, a regular public school. They're moving every few years, so I do love that piece of it. And I grew up in Catholic school. I'm similar to you. I public and Catholic, but my core friends, we stayed friends the whole way, and there was always just something special about St. Joe's. So it's kind of nice to end up back there.
When a parent is coming in and trying to decide what they want to do, there are other schools, not too far. Everybody has a car. You can get somewhere else. Why would they? What's your pitch to them?
I mean, I don't know if it's a pitch or that you have to feel comfortable. I need them to feel comfortable with me. I'm definitely a acquired taste. So some parents, we really like jive, or some people it's a different clientele. St. Joe's are great people. They're from our community. They're hard workers, and they are the people that you're talking about that do sacrifice for their kids. They want to instill the faith and the academics, and they want that family feel to it as well. And our parents they make up the community. With a great set of parents, you have a great school.
And you're seeing video here of the school itself. What about for parents that say, look, I have a special needs son or daughter, they need extra help, outside help? You do have the services for that.
We do. We have something called the Eagle program, and we established it a little bit early. So this past year was our full year, but we took in our first student of March of 2024, I believe, and he is a young boy with autism, but he can hang. He's great in the classroom, but one of the most awful things to tell a parent is that you can't service their kid because they need a little bit more. And I would say, Jesus isn't going to turn away kids because they're dyslexic or they have some disability. And so, how can we fix it? And my own son has special needs. And so it was always really important to me. He couldn't get a faith-based education at the time because there was no place to give it to him. And so now I'm really proud of the program, and we have an amazing director, Dr. McMahon. She is incredible with these kids, and she has her own backstory. And I think when you have people who really understand what it's like to be in the trenches with a kid who has a disability, and you want to send them to Catholic school, you want to take care of those kids. You want to take care of everybody.
Just talking to Bishop Henning when he was here, he said one of the real challenges was, paying and retaining Catholic school teachers. He said it's really difficult. Parents want to see those teachers there every year. That's not always a reality. How do you keep them there?
Oh, man. There are different incentives that you can do for your teachers. It depends on your pastor. We have a great pastor. He's invested in the school. So he makes it worthwhile for those people to stay. But, these people are your family. And they show up every day. And I have to say, Bill, I say it to Bill all the time. I have the best staff in the world. They are the people who whatever you need. I need someone to cover lunch duty. I need someone to do it. They're all like, I'll do it, I'll do it, I'll do it. I've never seen a staff like ours. And I have to attribute it to that they feel cared for and they feel taken care of, and they're invested in the school as well.
All right, Julie was talking about Father Greg Stowe. Bill, just for a second, how do you retain not just teachers, but how do you cultivate principals like Julie who went through the system and you want them to stay to take over a school?
Sure. So that is something that we are working on building at the Catholic school office level, at the central office level, for lack of a better word, in terms of identifying talented staff, people with the charisms of leadership, and then working with their principals to say, what do they need? How can we support? Every principal is going to have one or two teachers who has that or has the ability to lead a school in their future. And it's incumbent upon us to work with them, educate them, and meet them where they are to help them grow. We need to do that because they are the heartbeat of the school.
Now, I know class sizes are small, or most schools, obviously publicize that, but we're going to go to a word that no one wants to talk about. We are going to bring it up, COVID. It's 5 years later, Julie. Do you see still some of the effects of the students, or have you gotten by that?
No, I think we're always going to see that. I remember when my daughter was in kindergarten, it was COVID, and she would play with her friends on her iPad, and they would play dolls. And they got so used to being on electronics, and that's all they had at the time. So I do see that, and I actually see my teachers kind of pulling away from the computers as much as they can during the day. And it's funny because a lot of our programs are online, but they'll try to keep to a book just so the kids aren't on those screens. And I think it's so important. It's awesome. Technology is great, but it can be all day for some kids. And we really try to keep the kids engaged. But I think that we're very lucky to have people like Bell. Bell doesn't have to help us. We're a parish-based school. We're not a diocesan school, but he's always reaching out to us and what do you need? And I appreciate that. And when the diocese and the parish schools work together, I mean,
So I think that
things
important
happen.
so St. Joe's is a parish school. If you look like a Bishop Hendricken, they're a diocesan school. Monsignor Clark, a diocesan school.
Yep.
All right, what's the difference between the two?
The shortest version is a parish school like St. Joe's. The principal is going to run that school on behalf of the pastor. Whereas a diocesan school, the principal is running that school by extension on behalf of the Catholic school office and the bishop. 99.5% of the time, the CSO and the pastor align in terms of how they're working, and it's a special thing. And once in a while, if a pastor disagrees, which I think has happened once in 5 years, then the principal should listen to the pastor, and it still works out.
It's not a democracy when it gets to that point.
No, but it is a working relationship, and I'm proud of the steps that have been taken to bring the parish schools and the diocesan schools and the Catholic school office closer together.
Before we run out of time with you, Julie, you do work closely with the town of West Warwick for
Yes.
services, right?
Yes. They provide our title program, and they provide special ed services to our students, even if they are out of district students. And every year we have more and more students we find that have need. And so West Warwick does work with us, and we're fortunate because the person that West Warwick employs is also the person that we employ for our special ed services. So she sees them on their West Warwick time, and then she goes into the classroom with them, and she models for the other children in the class, she models for the teachers, and so it's nice to have the same person doing both jobs.
All right. Julie, thank you. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about a special program that's been in the works at Bishop Hendricken for a long time. We'll do that right after these messages. Our back-to-school coverage continues now on the WPRI 12 Plus app. I'm Mike Montecalvo. We're talking Catholic schools on this segment. We were talking about St. Joe's. There's another school in the city of Warwick that's actually been doing a program with kids with special needs for a few years now. It's called the Options Program. The school is Bishop Hendricken, and Natalie Kessimian, the assistant principal at Bishop Hendricken, joins us right now. Natalie, thanks for the time.
Thank you for having me.
I think before we go on, we should say that you are, now, for those of you who don't know, Bishop Hendricken is an all-boys school, and you are the first female assistant principal in the school. What's that like, making history?
It's interesting. They keep me busy every day, each and every day, but it's good. I love it. I love working there. I love the boys there. My brother is an alumni there, so I do have some connections to Hendricken. Obviously, I did not go there, but I grew up with it as well.
And she's wearing the shirt just to support the school. Let's talk about the Options Program. It's really a wonderful program, a program that I know very well. Students that are really on the autism spectrum, intellectual disabilities, developmental disabilities. Talk a little bit about what is available for parents and kids.
Sure. So everything is available to those students that come to apply for the Options Program at Bishop Hendricken. So the Options Program's focus is life skills based. So if you're looking for more an academic approach in regards to job exploration, that's what the Options Program is about. We're dealing with students with intellectual disabilities for the most part, and they are offered every opportunity that Hendricken has to offer. So we have unified volleyball, unified basketball teams, but really the community is so embracing that the students can really get involved in anything.
It's an inclusive program.
Yes.
And it goes both ways. I saw this on, his name is Father Greg Boyle, and he was giving a speech, he was giving a speech at a college, and he said that you don't go to the margins to change the people at the margins. You go to the margins so they change you. Mm-hmm. And I thought of the Options Program. It's not the kids with special needs, but they're changing the mentors lives when you really
Yes.
think about it.
Yes, definitely. So just as impactful as the program is for those individual students that attend the program, you really see the impact in the whole community. So even the teachers, the students in particular, the students that are mentors give up their study period and they go into class with the students in the options program, and they're really there as a support system and a guide. So if the students have any questions, if they have to read anything, the students turn to their mentors. So at Hendricken, there is this brotherhood. And so we like to say that the mentors are their big brothers. They look out for them. They also will participate in social events with them. I used the mentors a lot when I was director of the options program. They kept a lookout on the students. If anything was going on, they would come and they would tell me, Ms. Kay, can you check on this student? So really it brought the whole community together. Even our alumni, the networking in regards to job exploration. So just like any other parent, you want your student to be successful outside of high school and you want them to have a job and have a family and be successful. And that's what our alumni network really watches out for those students as well. The connections are great and the partnership is great, but it really changes the lives of everyone at the school.
I told you it changed my godson, Nicholas DaCosta's life. He went in not knowing what he wanted to do. He's in college now and wants to be a special ed teacher. And that's what I'm saying. It's how those kids can change, the mentors' lives when you think about it.
Yeah, definitely.
They get all the core classes, too. I think it's important to say that, right?
Yes, they get all their core classes. Their theology class, their history class, science classes are in the inclusion model where they go to class with a peer mentor. And then their core classes of math and English and a life skills class is what is in the options program. And that's more geared towards, being a successful independent adult when they leave. And just like any other teenage boy, they have goals and they have dreams. And our job is to make sure that they get fulfilled and the whole community comes together in trying to help them figure that out.
Is there a plan to kind of expand this bill?
There absolutely is, and I'm glad you asked. We have programs that are, of a similar umbrella, slightly different at the Prout School. We have them at Bayview Academy. We are building them at a couple of other schools that I don't want to say yet, but our anticipation is that throughout the diocese they will be growing, and each one is aimed at a slightly different grade level, a slightly different target demographic of students. But if there's one thing that I can say in speaking to the parents, and as a parent of special education children myself, there's so many times where parents are worried about their children. Every parent worries about their child, and you're worried, do I need to advocate for them? And are people going to take care of them? And is it going to work? And to those parents and to those families, we say there is a space here. There's a space here for you in our schools. There's a space here for you in our church. And we just want to bring you in and welcome you into these communities that we are building.
And I think that's the two. There's so many options. We talked about 35 schools across the state of Rhode Island. Go to a school that's a fit for
Correct.
you and your child, really, when you
Correct.
think about it. So we're running out of time. Natalie, thank you very much for being here. Julie, too. Any last thoughts, Bill?
If parents are wondering, students have questions, pick up the phone, call, ask us. We would love nothing more than to talk to you, answer any questions that you have. And I'm not going to say sell you because our schools speak for themselves, but we'd love to expose all of our families to the opportunities that we can share and work with you together.
And we're looking at 10,000 kids starting in September about?
Correct. Yes,
So
we're
that's-
gonna jump over that 10,000 student mark this year.
All right, Bill, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you very much for watching our back-to-school coverage. We'll have more right here on the WPRI 12 Plus app.